possible. So we will have questions coming in from, because we are live on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously, thanks to the technology gods that is Tim from the Heresy group. So yeah, here we go. So those of you that do and don't know, Terry and Mikey from SEO Milsim run their Milsim events down here in Kent. I'm going to say perhaps 3-4 times a year. So this was Excalibur 2, a follow-on of the continuation of the storyline from one of the other Milsims. Now, obviously, myself and Tim initially were unable to make this event. Tim had prior commitments, and I was working overseas with work. So, that being said, you know, we managed to pull some strings, and obviously Terry asked us if we were coming. We said no, unfortunately we can't. But like I say, we managed to pull some strings. Now, I managed to get back in time. Speaking to Terry, this is kind of how things went down. The only time that I could get back was going to be round about, I'm going to say, lunchtime, sort of early evening Saturday, so I couldn't make, you know, the start of the op. But you know, we said we could come down in the evening, which is, anyone knows, night time is mine and Tim's favourite time. So yeah, we was obviously, when I realised I could make it, actually jumped at the chance. Big shout to everyone that's joining. Alex, Chris, Jake, what's happening, guys? Jamie, Britt, what's happening, mate? So yeah, obviously, I will say this event was a far cry from the stand that we attended a couple of weeks back. That, if you imagine, two opposite ends of the scale. So with Tim, unfortunately, otherwise engaged, there was it was a choice of me rolling down there by myself, which is not a problem. You know, to run solo is not great. You know, because obviously if you get into a firefight with sort of 5 to 6 guys, the chance of you coming out on top is very slim. Not impossible, but slim. So was chatting to a good friend of mine, Mike Amos. I know him from the Tier 1 days. Very, very good friend of mine, and a damn good Milsimmer. You know, loves to get stuck in, not afraid of getting in amongst the dirt and doing some sort of green wrecky bits. Charlie, what's happening, mate? Welcome along. So just to paint the picture, then obviously there was myself and Mike Amos. We were asked if we could come down, and obviously we said yes, would love to jump at the chance. Obviously we can only make the Saturday night due to other prior commitments. So Terry and Mikey from SEO worked their magic, and this is basically the scenario. So as you've not been to one of SEO Milsim's, I'll definitely say check it out. If you are down here in Kent, the guys do put on a good show, and I'm going to say some of the best non-marshalled hit taking I think I've had at a Milsim, to be fair, in recent times. You know, the marshals, I really need to get involved to sort of guide the gameplay as such, not pull people to one side. So the storyline is, you have the two factions. Basically, you have the cartel, which obviously, as we know, cartel are bad guys, you know, moving, producing drugs, taking hostages, etc., etc. And obviously you have the task force, who are designed to try and stop these guys, take out HVTs, grab intel, etc. Which is great. It's a good base storyline. And obviously I know the guys at SEO throw a few things in the mix there, try and mix up some different objectives for both teams, not just task force, you know, keeping both teams quite busy throughout the weekend. But which is where me and Mike Amos came into it. We was asked if we would come in and basically just mix things up a little, you know. So we were basically a team of two, a two-man team, technically a Sicarios. So not assigned to any one team. We were basically, you know, whoever could pay the biggest price would basically have our allegiance as such. But that being said, we had our own agenda. We had a list of HVTs that we were to take out, and from the, you know, from the management above, it was said that, you know, whoever got in our way, gets dropped, whether that's cartel or task force. So basically, our ROE was anything was good game. That's, you know, I didn't really see many civilians when we were out on the ground. Obviously, pretty much everyone was armed, everyone that we come across. But yeah, so that's the background story. So you have obviously your cartel, you have your task force, and then you have myself and Mike, the little two-man team, out to basically just fuck shit up, pretty much. That's what we were designed to do. So time-wise, as far as the timeline's concerned, we're basically looking at, we managed to get on site around about, I'm going to say 8:30, 8:30, 9 o'clock. By the time we kitted up, it's going to be sort of 9, half 9, I guess. Now we could hear a few bangs going off in the distance at the back of the site. So we knew there was definitely still some people active out there at night time, which we knew there would be with the guys that were turning up to this event. But then obviously we had the problem is we were a deniable force. You know, we wasn't technically supposed to be there. No one knew we was there. It was kept uber quiet. You know, I think basically it was myself, Mike, who are the two guys that were going. Tim knew because he was asked to go along, but obviously couldn't make it. Terry and Mikey, who run the event, those guys knew, but that is about it. No one either side of the cartel or the task force knew we were there. Yes, Jamie Britt, basically freelance mercenary scum. Call us what you like. We're not fussed about names. We just get the job done for the right amount of cash. So, getting onto site then. Obviously, we had a quick brief with Terry and Mikey. Lay of the land. Obviously, we got issued our maps. Went through everything, sort of, you know, the different factions, who sort of numbers that were still there, what we were looking at, and how basically we wanted to tell the guys at SEO. Obviously, we didn't just go steaming in and do our own thing. You know, although we had to sort of mix it up, you have to be realistic. You can't just go steaming off and go rogue. You know, you have to try and play within the realms of the storyline. Otherwise, what's the point in that storyline? So, getting onto site, once we've done a bit of a brief, bit of the backstory, we explained to the boys at SEO what our plan was, how we're going to sort of how the night was going to unfold for us, or how we planned for it to unfold. To be fair, from my point, I think everything went pretty well. Obviously, unfortunately, Mike didn't have any comms. His comms were still in the box on their way back from Sweden, unfortunately, from a previous op. So we were no comms, but that was our MOE. You know, that was our MO. We basically no tags, just some bang, smokes and mags. That's it. You know, super lightweight, shoot and scoot tactics. That was what we were there to do. So getting onto site then, we Terry and Mikey basically sorted us out a route across from the car park, a safe route from the car park across the public road onto site. Which point we've gone in, got onto site, basically where technically the safe zone is. We should have a map for you guys in just a second. Cheers. I know it's a Sunday, but we all need refreshments. So guys, hopefully you can all see that map. If you can all, if everyone looks at the little green dot down right in the sort of south where the safe zone is, we came in from the south there and started off in the safe zone. So bearing in mind, like I say, we had the bare essentials on us, mags, bangs, smokes, that was it. I had a day sack with some water, extra ammo, Siloons, GPS, so not GPS, a MS2000 strobe, IR strobe, just so we knew where we were going to sort of plot up and mark our little fob as such, our little base. We could leave the bag there. Scout recon, what's happening? Brad, Grey Fox, what's happening, guys? Please hit that like if you're joining. So we didn't have a lot of kit, like I say, a little day sack. We had the Sonics Aurora in there, the full color digital night vision, which is awesome. Had to have a little play with that at night time. That was good, but we'll get to that bit later on. So we've entered the site where the safe zone is. Now we basically had an idea that we was going to set up, you know, dump our kit, and that would technically sort of be our regen, our sort of like a sort of little base. was going to be just on the east side. If you see where it says comms post on the right hand side, we were going to come about 100 meters east of that and drop our bags there. So exactly as we said, we came in. Obviously, we could hear a lot of guys in the safe zone, chatting away, sorting out kit, bombing up, doing whatever they had to do. A lot of white light going on, which was not ideal for us to try and sneak on site, because like I say, we weren't supposed to be there, or no one was supposed to know we were there. So as you look down, there's a tiny little track. Follow the track down, hug the fence line down, heading northeast to the church. We handrailed the church round, headed sort of in a straight northerly direction, and sort of plotted up just east of the comms post. So as we said, nabbed in, and I'll be honest with you guys. So weather-wise, I know it's been super cold recently, but let me tell you this: it was like 16 degrees, super humid, the absolutely clear skies, 3/4 moon. It was absolutely perfect weather conditions for night ops, until obviously, because we are just getting into autumn now, so the tree covers, the canopies are super thick. So when you're out from underneath the trees, it's clear, super bright. As soon as you're under the canopy, everything gets pitch black. And much to everyone's sort of belief, night vision isn't magical, isn't special. When it is dark, it's dark. Envy will still, even Gen 3s will still struggle if it's pitch black. So it was hard going. We pushed down, dumped the bags, got my GPS out, my Fortrix 401, marked the grid, taped up a IR Siloom, marked the position, left it there. So myself and Mikey did a full kit shakedown, make sure it was all good to go, everything we needed for the next sort of hour or so before we intended to come back. So our first tasking, then, we decided that, obviously we heard that task force, as we snuck past them in the safe zone, we knew those guys were sort of like not bombing up, but they were sort of just kicking back a little bit. So obviously the plan was to let those guys sort of settle in, because by the sounds of things, they'd just come back from an op. So we want to let them settle in and kind of so they wouldn't, not necessarily have their wits about them as such, but let them sort of do what they've got to do and then crack on. So first order of business, then, we was going to sort of see if we could track down this HVT, or at least find out where they were plotting up. So myself and Mikey, we come west to the comms post. We then pushed further north, checkpoint Charlie. We hit that. We then pushed further north, basically hit the fence line, because I say, guys, it was super dark. Now, again, as much as we people like to believe the Heresy group with their Gen 3 nods are invincible and superheroes, we do fuck up from time to time. We do make mistakes. Kev Berry, what's happening, mate? How are you, brother? Yeah, as much as it is, we do make mistakes. We're all human. And this one was on me. So I had point, Mikey was just behind us, and we basically got just past checkpoint Charlie. Now, I wanted to turn sort of kind of to the 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock position to basically come down and hit the caravan to pick up that track that leads northwest. Completely missed my bearing. We ended up back at the research outpost, and we had to do a few trips sort of like up and back, trying to find a track, because it was still for autumn, super overgrown, really hard going. You've got your gun, you're trying to move branches and foliage out the way, brambles, as well as obviously at night time, trying to make as little noise as possible. Yeah, it was super hard going. Anyway, we sort of, after I realised how much of a cock up I'd made of it, we bounced back to checkpoint Charlie, where our ERV was already marked on the GPS. Started again, got the map out, and then basically cracked on. Obviously, we heard the drone from task force whizzing about overhead, but every time we heard it coming, you just duck under a bit of cover, go completely no light, light discipline, noise discipline, down to zero. go firm, wait for the drone to pass, and then you can just crack on, which is exactly what we did. So from checkpoint Charlie, we pushed up to the caravan, northwest, pretty much to the settlement. Now, if anyone's been to the settlement, it's like a big sort of opening, lots of logs and trees in sort of like almost like a perimeter shape with sort of small walls. We made sure that was clear. So cleared the settlement. As in previous times, that has been an OP4 or cartel camp. So just did a quick clearance patrol of that. Now, if you look at the settlement, you will see a track that comes straight down, pretty much. And if you follow it down, you've got checkpoint, Delta, Helo, and compound. So this is where our first idea was to look, because it's quite a built-up area. There's some big wooden structures. We thought if anyone's going to be camping or sleeping, that's where they're going to be. Sorry, guys, just going to bounce through some of these comments real quick. Liam Tompkins, yeah, it was hella dark. Yes, it was, mate. Super dark. Beefy, yeah, mate, same. It was super, super dark. Even, you know, we both, me and Mike had Gen 3s and still points we super struggled. So anyway, so back onto it, we come down the track. We must have been about 50 meters short of the first wooden structures. Again, no comms. You know, this is where sort of the guys that have been in the game for a long time, you don't really need comms. Comms is an awesome tool to have. It is an absolutely, I would say, you don't have to have it, but you know, it's definitely something I would definitely recommend. That being said, if you don't have it, there are ways around it. Hand signals, gestures, movements. You know, it can all be done even in pitch black. So we called out structure. You know, 1 o'clock, just slow movements, pointed to where the structure was. Mikey then come round to my right hand side, pushed round, and obviously we went from a single file to a staggered file just to take up any arcs of fire. Push down. As we just broke the left hand corner, we saw two guys sort of stood there with their nods up, and literally it was absolutely textbook. You know, this is where you know you've been operating with someone for a long time. You know, Mikey's such a great lad. You know, he's been around the Milsim scene for a long time. Literally, my peck went on the first guy, his peck went on the second guy. Within a half second, we both took the shot. Both guys were dead. That's kind of when all hell broke loose. Not from our perspective or from the cartel's perspective, but we heard a car coming basically from the south side of the track. So if you look down where it says we can see the tank. So just absolute potluck, nothing planned at all. As we've hit the cartel, task force have hit from the south side as well. Hit the car pulling up, rounds going off, which point me and Mike have said, F this, mate, like there's no need for us to be here. We're going to get drawn into some huge firefight where we don't really need to be. So we made the decision to bound out, basically, you know, bound back from the helo, push back down the track we just come up to the settlement, and then obviously we didn't want to take the second track further to the west that leads round to the command post on the left hand side. We felt that was a little bit too close to the firefight, so we kind of hit the settlement, went basically directly west to, I'm going to say, what grid is that? 3373 7760. That point we basically sort of, that's when we started to come south down towards and meet up that track again. Alex, we crashed. That's how it started. I was at the crash with the car. I heard about the crash with the car. Yeah, it's amazing. Like I say, all the time me and Mikey are bounding out, sort of working ourselves west and south down this track, basically parallel to the helo and the compound. So we're coming further down south. You can hear it all kicking off. There's rounds going in, bangs going in. Sound like a really good firefight. Both guys were absolutely having it up. Which is good for us, you know, all the time, all this noise is going on. We did it some super bad, like shrubbery, like brambles, trees, you know, dry logs and stuff. You're cracking, everything's making a noise. So all the time these guys were having a firefight. It was good for us, you know, we could move undetected. So our plan was then to carry on pushing south and basically do almost like a full lap of the site. Come round past the command post, checkpoint Bravo, and basically come in. So in between checkpoint Bravo and checkpoint Alpha, you'll see a little crossroads. Our idea was to sit there, put in a snap ambush for any guys that were not dead and coming back. We sat there for a little while, no movement. So then we did get a bit brave. We decided to then push up from that crossroads, push further north up to the tank, past the tank, and see who was left of what the firefight was going on down at the Hilo, where it says Hilo compound and checkpoint Delta. Again, on the track, pretty easy going, but very muddy, very soggy underfoot. So you're constantly slipping, having to watch your foot in the dark. So those guys without, without envy, I did really feel for you guys, because, even with our Gen 3s, we did struggle. We really did. So we came down, got to the compound. Oh, sorry, we were just shy of the tank, heading north. We saw two guys walking down the track to us. Me and Mike have split either side of the track. Let them get maybe, I don't know, 5-10 meters in front of us. One round in each guy, but unfortunately they were already dead, which we didn't realise. They didn't have any red light on as such, not that I could see. So a little apology to those guys. Do apologise. Didn't realise you were dead. But they was super cool with it. It's like, yep, we're already dead. And they just cracked on, which was good. Yes, thank you, Azriel. Obviously, thank you for stopping and shining your red torch right at me when you were dead. That was brilliant. Thank you for that. I saw yourself and Jono walk past. We heard you coming. We ducked in the bushes, but yeah. So for that point, 4 guys have gone past us dead. So we know there can't be that many task force left down there. So I'm going to say we got about maybe 20-25 meters short. Me and Mike again had just stopped, gone to either side of the track, just listen, just watching. You can see, white light IR coming on, and this is going both ways. This is going into the cartel camp, where it says the compound and Hilo. You've got white light and IR coming out, the tracers going each way. So yeah, it's a super cool firefight to watch. But we're just trying to figure out where people are placed and who's putting fire down, who's alive, who's dead. Anyway, we heard someone with a support gun on the rear of the vehicle facing north, moving about, putting lots of rounds down, taking fire as well. Which point, that's the only guy we can really, me and Mikey can see. We've again pushed together, pushed a little bit further up the track. At this point, we're probably within 10 meters, I say. Yeah, about 10 meters. Same again, both pecs on. Just takes one round. You don't have to lace the guy up. One round each, straight in the back. That guy took it like an absolute boss. Oh, Charles, there you go. Yeah, so yeah, Charles, nice one, mate. We heard you putting hella rounds down into the camp. But yeah, so that was one task force guy dead. Which point we then heard someone say, "Yep, everyone here around the vehicle is dead." So which point we know there's no point pushing up. There's no point trying to go through. We're not after intel. We're not after capturing anyone. We're not really after sort of any of the task force HVTs as such. So we then pushed a bit further south. We've then gone west into the bushes, and anyone who knows me from the days when I actually used to go to Apocalypse before I come to my senses knows I am super good at falling down ditches. If there's a hole in the floor, I will find it. The Excalibur 2 was no difference at all. We've gone through. Mikey's just stopped, took a knee to take a silence halt, just to wait for sort of 10-15 minutes. I must have taken a half step further than he did and fell down this 3 to 4 foot ditch. Knee in the chest, totally winded myself. I've got mud in my holster, in my pistol, mud up the back of my t-shirt. Yeah, it was absolutely an absolute mess, but hilarious nonetheless. So at this point, a lot of the task force guys have gone back to obviously their safe zones. That's the barn, which was their fob, their holding area. So this point, me and Mikey, we've hit the cartel only just quickly, and we've hit obviously the task force real quickly. So we thought we'd go quiet. So we sat probably, I'm going to say, where the tank is, in between the tank and the command post. The vegetation there is super thick, so it was hard to get through. But we went in. We knew no one would really come in that far into the vegetation to find us. Went quiet, just sat there for about 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Let it all die down. Yes, Jamie, mate. Any hole is a goal, mate. Absolutely. For you anyway. So I've heard. Fem feces. Yeah, mate. Scouts on it, mate. So after about 25, 30 minutes, it's all gone pretty quiet. We can still hear voices from sort of the Hilo area, compound area, which I believe are cartel, but we want to let them slide by for now. So me and Mike have pushed out, hit the tank, pushed further south. We've then basically chucked a left and gone up to checkpoint Alpha. And are those you guys that can see the barn there, that sort of structure? So we know they're going to be in or around the area, but we don't know. You don't know if they've got a stag rotor. We don't know if they've got trip mines out. They might have PIR lights. Those lights that automatically come on when you walk past. Maybe white light, maybe IR. Who knows? It could be anything. Trip flares. You just don't know. We're literally walking into the unknown. So it took us a bit of time to sort of clear from where checkpoint Alpha is. We cleared right round to the back of the barn, around either side of the building, checking for trips, sentries, everything like this. Which point we can hear guys in the safe, sort of where the safe zone is. It's not a safe zone. I know it's marked on the map as a safe zone, but obviously it's a Milsim. It's things are live 24/7. So we can hear some guys moving about the safe zone. I believe there's a small little campfire there for people to keep warm. So I've pushed basically east, moving west to east behind the building to come around one side. To come around one side of the building. Mikey's pushed around the sort of the south. South going to come around south and then east. So we're basically come around the building like in this sort of fashion to hit from two sides. Which point, obviously, again, no comms. So I've said to Mikey, obviously, I'll wait for his first shot to go in. Obviously, we'll all pick our targets, and then I'll wait for his first shot to go in. Heard the first two bursts from Mikey. I think he hit two players because as I'm looking, I've got two players sitting down, looking to basically to my left, looking that way. So Mikey's coming from this way. So he's hit these two guys in the back. They've gone down. I've then panned left from those two guys. I think I shot one guy in the arm. I believe Alex was the only guy that had his gun with him or could get to his gun in time, because after about two or three hits, I could hear Alex's, or it may have been Charles, I don't know. I think it was Alex's 249 or a support gun licking off rounds in towards Mikey's direction. Again, just a small adjustment, bring the rifle just down a little bit, open up the gap in between the wooden slats, and yeah, he took it like a champ. So now, bearing in mind at this point, we've kind of cleared out, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 guys from the task force camp. We're there to shoot and scoot. We're not there to clear through. We're not there to clear a threat or necessarily take and hold an objective. We're there to disrupt. We're there to sort of keep people on their toes. Keep the factions not necessarily fighting, but keep them aware at all times. So, which point me and Mike then backed out from the building. I'm going to say just east of checkpoint Charlie and north of the barn. That was our ERV, our emergency rendezvous point. We've hooked up there and basically started to bound. We bounded as far as a scrapyard. Obviously, wasn't being followed. So, which point we broke contact at the scrapyard and then patrolled out single file back to our little harbour area just east side of the comms post. So for us, that was the sort of the first sort of big hit we done on task force that night. We'd already had a bit of a poke, a bit of a prod at a cartel. So at which point we didn't really need to bomb up. Again, didn't really put too many rounds down. Just perhaps index some mags, move some fresh mags across, took on some water. We were then into the planning phase of what we're going to do next. But yeah, we'll just go through some of these comments real quick. So me and Ash, Charles Woodfield, that's when me and Ash went and run like fuck and hid behind the big tarp. LMG was on tail about 20 meters away from me. Always have your gun on you, mate, or at least a pistol. At least a pistol. Beef Milsim. Now this makes sense. We were so confident op-form morale was low, so they wouldn't counter-attack. I literally said 5 minutes before that they would attack. Then you guys roll. Oh shit! It's sod's law, mate. It's sod's law. And to be honest with you, like Beefy's bang on the money. Like, obviously, you've just gone and hit the cartel, so you're right. You know, really, they're probably just getting themselves back in from regen, get themselves sorted out. The chance of them hitting you was probably, like I say, highly unlikely. But yeah, obviously, that no one knew we were there. We were absolutely a deniable force. So, like I said to you, we took stock at the comms post, took on some water, indexed some mags, made sure everything we were both all good and happy. Like I say, plan our next sort of hit. Now we've done a sweep. If you imagine, we've gone sort of counterclockwise from checkpoint Charlie round to the settlement. After my faux pas first time trying to nav in, I've kind of got the route now. So we've again pushed out from the comms post, exactly the same route, nothing changed. We've come down checkpoint Charlie, got as far as the caravan, but this is where the route changed. Obviously, we didn't really want to go in the same use the same route twice, because obviously we'd hit 2 guys from the cartel there previously, so chances are they would have done something about that if they were switched on. So we didn't really want to do chance that. So if you, where that says Helo on compound, and draw a line from left to right where it says the village, there is a tiny little entrance. And I mean, it's still really overgrown. You've got to duck down, move some branches, so you can get into where it says compound from that right-hand side. It is hard going, it's noisy, but you know, it's something I thought we'd probe again just to try and, you know, check it out. I think time check wise, I think we're looking at about, this is probably about 12:05 thereabouts. Don't quote me on that. So again, me and Mike have pushed down, try to be super quiet, come down, and literally, like, absolute worst luck in the world. We've just stopped. We found the entrance. We can hear some talking. There's some white lights moving around the cartel camp. So there's guys there. They're talking pretty loud. So I don't think they knew we were there. And as anyone knows, obviously we get into autumn, things fall off trees. You know, trees get old, branches break. And I kid you not, if a branch, it must have been a hell of a branch. I'd hate to have been hit by it, because this thing come down with such an almighty crash about 3 feet to my right hand side. And yeah, it come down with such a crash that obviously the guys that were in the cartel camp alerted them to this noise. Lots of white light, lots of lasers were sort of pointing in our direction, and we sort of hit the ground, just went quiet. Luckily, because of the dense sort of forest and sort of vegetation, none of the white light was technically getting through, but we were getting shadowed a little bit. So that point, we knew that entrance and that attack point was basically, that was burned. We couldn't touch that now, you know. And again, this is where sometimes you just have to, you know, you may have a plan A, you may have a plan B, but you just have to think on the fly and work with it. So it's a bit frustrating not having comms, but you can, like I said, you can work around it. So I left Mikey at this position. Again, the plan was for me to push further north, back to, or northeast to the caravan, use the track, hit the settlement, and come back down that track that I came in previously. So the idea was I would get into camp as soon as I would find a target, or find someone that was armed, and I believed, you know, a threat. I would engage. Mikey was also a lot closer to the camp than I was, although being from a different entrance. If he, as he would hear my engagements, that would then draw their fire and hopefully push reinforcements towards my direction, leaving their back exposed for Mikey to push in for that right hand side. That was the plan. As we know, plans don't always go to plan, well executed, but we work with it. So again, I'm edging down towards the Helo and checkpoint Delta and the compound. Now, when you see the 3 dots, checkpoint Delta, Helo, and Compound, that's roughly where sort of 3 main wooden structures are. Imagine like a sort of like a big garden shed, sort of like an outhouse. There's sort of like open doors, open windows, so you can shoot in and out of these structures. So when you're pushing up, you've always got to be aware, although it looks pitch black, there could be someone at the back of the building, with a sight on you. So I had to be super quiet, super, using heels and toes all the way down this track. Yes, Scout, take it easy, mate. We'll catch up soon. So come down, further down the track, I must have got into about, I'm going to say 15, 20 meters of the first structure on the left-hand side. Again, a few white lights on in this structure, some chatting, some talking, very quietly, but there was some talking going on. I could hear these guys shuffling about, and again, it takes a bit of experience, because as you're moving through brambles and bushes, those brambles and those thorns, anyone knows if you rub a thorn past Cordura, it's basically like an F-14 jet taking off of an aircraft carrier. That's the sort of decibel level we're looking at in the middle of the night. It's horrendous. So I'm trying to be super quiet. As I push up, I'm using the guys as they're talking, moving kit around. Every time they make a bit of noise, I'll take it one step further. Bit more noise, another step further. So I managed to push up till I'm on the exterior of this building. Now I'm close enough, I can see through my nods that the windows and doors are covered with like a cloth material, sort of like drapes, and they've got a big drape over the door as well. I guess just to stop any incoming fire. Obviously, I know FPS limits and everyone's chronos, but obviously this building was tiny, and I'm probably in about 3 feet distance of the guys that are going to be in there. So I don't want to hit them with my Scar Heavy. Yes, it is UK legal limit before anyone asks, but no one likes to be shot that close with a long if you don't have to. So stowed the long super quietly, pulled my my Glock 19 out, my WE Glock 19. Just slowly pulled the curtain to one side, and sort of just said, evening guys, how's it going? And yeah, there was one guy sat on his bed facing me, just taking his boots off. There was another guy to my left who was half sort of taking his top off like this. And I said to him, look, I said, sorry, so that was 2 guys, the other 2 were asleep in a sleeping bag. I said, look, I'm not gonna take the piss, I'm not gonna be horrible, guys, I'm not gonna shoot you this close, you're unarmed, do you know what I mean? I said, like, if you're happy just to take the hit, there's no need for me to pull the trigger, little bit of a gentleman's agreement, but I don't think, I think that sometimes goes a long way. And they was like, yeah, no, we're happy to take that. So I said, obviously, like, lads, don't worry about I said, are you going to bed? They said, yeah, we're just going to get head down. I was like, that's no worries, don't worry about going back to regen. I said, I'm sure, Terry and Mikey, the SEO guys, will be happy with that. Not going back to regen. No point getting up out of bed, getting dressed just to walk to regen and walk back. No point. So we're having a bit of a gas, just a friendly sort of catch up as you do between 2 factions. And then I start to hear footsteps outside the door. So I've quickly ducked in, pulled the drape behind me, tucked hard against the wall, sort of pistol up. Which point, this guy does exactly what I've done, pulled the drapes to one side, poked his head in. Rather than just walking in, he's just poked his head in through the drape, which obviously I've got my Glock like here to his face like this. Yes, finger was well off the trigger, don't worry. But he was like, oh, I was like, yeah. I said, do you want to take that, mate? I said, because obviously, likewise, I'm not going to pull the trigger this close, so I'm not that much of an arsehole. And he's like, oh, yeah. And fair enough, took his glow stick out, and dead man, off he walked. So just as quickly as he's walked out, another guy's walked in directly behind him and done exactly the same thing. He's walked in as he's put his head through. Obviously, my pistol was sort of like neck height. So I was like, again, I don't want to shoot you this close. There's no point. It's just a bit of a dick move. If you're happy to take the hit, he's like, oh yeah. He said, what team are you on? I was like, well, then obviously I had to explain to him that we was a mercenary Sicario force of 2 that bear allegiance to no man. And off these guys went quietly into night back to their regen. So whoever those guys were, very gentlemanly, like nice lads, took it like a champ. So obviously at this point, poor my teammate Mike Amos, bless him, he is still waiting just outside the helo, waiting for this big firefight to initiate so he can come in from the rear and attack the camp as well. But at this point, obviously, not a single shot's been fired. It's all kind of been like a gentleman's agreement because we've been too close. So that's the northernmost structure dealt with. 4 guys plus 2, that's 6, all sort of dead or out the game as such. Holster the pistol, back to the long. I then push to, as you're coming down to the left hand side. Sorry, yeah. As you're looking at the map to the left hand side of the track, which is checkpoint Delta. Small structure there. I've just gone around the back of the structure. I can see some more white lights off to the right where it says compound. So I'm then looking west to east across the track. A bit further back in the bushes, there's sort of 4 guys that I can make out around this little campfire. So you've kind of got like sort of 1, 2, sort of pretty close. Then there's a big gap, and you've got sort of 3, 4, sort of either side of the campfire. So anyone who's had to take out multiple targets knows you either have to be very quick with your target alignment, or you have to pick how you're going to number your shots. So whether you go left to right, right to left, or you start off the middle. But if you start off the middle and work your way out, you're then doing this. So it's best just to sweep, So I planned the shot out because these guys were just chatting. They had no idea I was there. They were just, I feel bad because they were just, having a bit of a gas, getting warm around the campfire, not really harming anyone. But that's what we're there to do. We're there to shoot people. So again, it's nighttime, guys. I'm not super close, but I'm going to say about 15 meters, maybe. You don't need full auto, just 1 round, and that's all it took. 1 round hit, 1 round hit, 1 round hit. As I've got to the 4th guy, he's literally just stepped back in behind the bushes. I was like, fuck, just missed that last shot. So now this is a problem because I now don't have eyes on that 4th target. He can medic those other guys back in. I'm still waiting for, I think I can hear Mikey just starting to make his way in. So hopefully he'll be able to pick up the last guys. But as it was, the airsoft gods were shining. The 4th guy just put his arm out like this to grab the 3rd guy to medic him back in. Whack, just 1 shot off the forearm. So, and again, at this point, guys, I do want to say the hit taken at this point was immaculate, absolutely immaculate. I was on semi-auto all night, and anyone that I put 1 round into took it like that. No hesitation, no pause. Like I say, it couldn't have been the further end of the spectrum from the combat airsoft that we'd done at Stanton, the couple of weeks previously. So it just goes to show, just because you put on a big event at a big MOD site doesn't mean good players. Some of these, like I say, whether it's invite only or you sort of hand pick who you're going to come to your event, some of the smaller numbers makes for a much better gameplay, much better. So now these 4 guys are dead. I've just started to push from west to east. Mikey's starting to make his way into the compound now. So as you pushed in, the guys, let's face it, it is all about safety. The guys like, yeah, everyone here's dead. Once we've got campfire, and the guys like, yeah, that's fine, mate. Obviously, I don't want to go steaming through and start, overkilling people to try and get to someone who's behind them. As much as it's, you're trying to kill someone that's not dead, it's not nice to lace people up with unnecessarily. There was a compound, a sort of wooden structure just behind these 4 guys, obviously. So I down to a pistol. I just about to pull out my new SFDI impact grenade, deploy that. And the guy was like, no. He said the 2 guys in there, they're asleep. He said that they're out. They're not playing. I was like, no worries. If you're happy with that, then so be it. It's also fair to mention this point at the 4 guys that I dropped there. 2 of them were Mikey and Terry, who actually run the site. So sorry, guys, I do apologise, but wrong place, wrong time. So this is where comms do are kind of needed, because I'm waiting for Mikey to come in from the east side, from his Helan compound through the bushes there. Nothing, can't hear him. And I'm shouting like, yeah, Mike, yeah, everyone is dead. Like, it's just me, you know, you can come down now. Nothing, just deadly silent. Thinking, oh shit, is he lost? You know, worst case, has he fallen down? Has he hurt himself? Because if so, we need to go looking for him. After about 10 minutes, I said to Terry and Mike, I said, look, well, I'm going to have to go look for him, because this is quite serious now. I must have taken 3 steps and he walks in behind me the same route that I came in. I was like, fuck's sake. Anyway, so that was technically the cartel compound dealt with. We kind of cleared that out now. So again, me and Mikey sort of regrouped, went through, checked our kit. Didn't really want to hang about because we were right in the middle of the track, right in the middle of their compound, because, you know, task force could have had another attack on the cartel. Which point, if we then stood in the middle of the compound, you know, having a gas, trying to sort out our next plan of action, you just line yourself up to get absolutely laced, absolutely bodied. So quick kit check, quick chat. We said, right, let's head back down the same track, through the tank, heading south, checkpoint Alpha. I thought, it works well the first time, let's try again. You know, so as we went to hit task force again, same route in, split around the building, except me and Mikey swapped this time. So he hit the side that I hit last time and vice versa. So again, I'm sort of waiting there, but there was no one really moving about. There was some white light over towards the back area where Mikey was, but I couldn't really see anyone moving. I heard a few rounds go off from Mikey, but I couldn't see. There was a truck, like a tow truck in the way, and some other structures I couldn't really see. I had no eyes on the target, so there's no point me engaging anything. I just sort of just held back, stood off, and waited. Mikey's then come back round to meet me. At which point I've seen a white light come out of the barn, and I don't know whether the guy was on a routine patrol or just going for a piss or what. I didn't actually take any fire, but that's a lie. Sorry, I took fire from the right hand side, because I've engaged the guy that's come out the barn. He screamed contact, at which point I then took a round from the right hand side. Got me right in the sweet spot, literally right there. It's a lovely little bruise. So fair play to whoever that was. Mikey's grabbed me, drove me around the corner, made me back in, and then we basically pushed back round, sort of headed sort of clockwise around the barn. Bumped into another guy again, had another bit of a firefight there. I think both sides took casualties. I think Mikey got hit, the other guy got hit. I medic Mikey back up. Which point again, you know, we're not trying to fight through, we're just trying to sort of like shoot and scoop. So again, same thing again. You know, same method. ERV at checkpoint Alpha, bound out to the scrapyard, and then single file back to the comms post. So at which point we're now reaching, I think it's 1 a.m. So it's, you know, the sort of the night is sort of just sort of getting there. So again, reconsolidated. At which point, what we wanted to do is, knowing there wasn't much action around the barn, we wanted to move our sort of harbour area a bit further, a bit closer to the task force, because our theory was task force would probably be a bit more active at night time. So we wanted to push our harbour a little bit closer, just so we could bounce to and fro. So we were just going to push it just south of the church, dumped our bag there, and it must have been about, I'm going to say, 1:15, I think we've pushed back through where it says sort of safe zone round there, come through, sort of just held off, didn't actually go in, but held off, and literally no movement at all, nothing. No one moving about. Barn doors were shut, lights were off. So at which point, obviously, we knew the cartel guys, a lot of those guys were getting their heads down for a little while anyway. You know, obviously myself and Mikey, we were there for a good time, not a long time. So at which point everything sort of died down. Cartel was sort of getting their head down. Looks like task force sort of shut shop, and you know, getting their head down for the night. So yeah, about sort of 20 to 2, 22, 1:45, we we sort of like pushed back to the church, grabbed our bag, and yeah, bounced. As quietly and silently as we entered the site, we left the site. So there we go, guys. That was kind of how it sort of went down. Sort of, we ran there maybe 3, 4, 5 hours. Not a very long time, but me personally, I had an absolute blast. Absolute blast. So. So just to wrap up, well, not wrap up, but just to sort of summarize then. First of all, I want to say a massive, massive thank you to Terry and Mikey for letting us come along at such, even when we were going, yes, I can make it. No, we can't. Yes, I can. No, we can't. We didn't actually have a positive answer from us, right to the last minute when it was like 5 o'clock, I was like, yeah, I think I can make it. So thank you guys. And I think it's something like this, just a small dynamic. Just 2 guys can really mix up the dynamic of a game. Because let's face it, if you have 2 factions just fighting end to end, this is how sometimes things get a bit stale. But this is what I like. SEO guys have been around a little while now. Haven't put on tons of games, but he's even admitting himself they're still a very young company. They're still learning. But this is what I like. They're still adding different things into the games to just to mix it up and make things more interesting. And it'll be so, guys. Please put your comments in the below if you were there and what you thought of it. Now, knowing now that it was myself and Mikey that was there to sort of mix it up and sort of just give people a bit of a straightener. Let us know what you think, because me personally, I thought that was a good twist to add it in there, keep the different factions on their toes, and sometimes you didn't know where you're getting hit from, so it was good. Secondly, like I said before, the hit taking was absolutely impeccable. Not once did I have to go on full auto or even want to, because there was just semi auto was absolutely the order of the night. One shot, 1 kill. Didn't have to second guess it. It was absolutely spot on. I think the weather helped. The weather was good. Obviously, I came packed with my level 7, my Helican jacket, my fleece and everything else, and everything got left in the bag. Nothing got put on. Just a t-shirt and a U-backs, and that was it. So let's just go through some of these comments real quick. And guys, I know some of you guys have already bounced. James C, bit topical with the shit going down the next kind of man. It is. It absolutely is. And that's why I love it. All I'm saying is that I'm gutted I didn't have a 50 cal mount on the back of a truck. Brooksy, well, as long as you're getting paid, listen, mate, we'll everything has a price, everything. So it doesn't matter, everything can be bought. Marek, what's happening, mate? Once again, my Scar Heavy from Camo Raids was absolutely outrageous. That thing is an absolute beast. Out of all the guns, it's the one I always go back to, always. Grey Fox 31, it's not Stanza. Yes, mate, definitely the opposite of Stanza, absolute opposite. Brad, was IR banned? No, in fact, there was all of the IR. There were lasers, there was IR torches, there was even cameras, there was even night recording equipment. So yeah, absolute opposite of Stanta. As your Sutcliffe, so you sneak past us then, Scout Recon, not hard. Nope. Scout Recon should have had your drone out. Alex, me and Ray saw you moving. Where was that, mate? Because I think the Jake Pickering, so you right function up and then left, just as the patch says. Sounds like such a great. Yes, mate. Plan, execute, vanish. That's kind of what we do. Whether that's getting in there and actually taking out targets, or in a recce thing, getting in there, getting intel, and not firing a single shot. Yeah, people with Gen 2 and 3 were struggling as well. Without IR, you couldn't see much. Chris, yeah, definitely, mate. Like I said before, as you know, if you were there, mate, it was super dark under the canopy. But some parts will get out to the open. I think where we handrailed the fence, the next field over, you couldn't go over because that was site boundary, but you could look at into the field, and the 3/4 moon was so bright. It was so bright, but the canopy just blocked out everything. We couldn't, Alex. We couldn't just engage. Had to PID before we open up. Plus, wasn't 100% sure. I think it's just a bit slow, mate. Just kidding. Super dark out there. Yeah. Did you take the MP5 SD or the Scar H? I took the Scar H. MP5. We are still in the, how can I say, trial stage. I'm going to say trial stage because obviously in the Scar Heavy I had the Gate Titan. In the MP5 I had the Gate Aster. Now the Aster is a new thing for me, something I want to try out, but at the moment I think their Gate is still bringing out firmware updates, but at the moment it's not performing. No, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to go and say it. We're not paid by Gate, so yeah, the Aster isn't performing as well as a Titan. You know, it is what it is. Camerate are working very hard to speak to Gate for me to try and get this issue resolved. Because obviously it's still a good bit of kit. The diagnostics are all there. I love the fact you can plug it in and read all your diagnostics, but it just doesn't have the. It's not performing as well as a Titan. So yeah, it was a Scar H for me, mate, all night long. Brad, if you don't have comms, Tim will bully you. Yeah, yes, he will. He will. But it's all right. Mike didn't have HPA. It's fine. TCFO3 for night ops, defo hand signals. Yes, mate. I think me and Mike, when we were in a patrol situation, not being back at the harbour area in a patrol situation, I think we must have said 3 words. 3 words. You know, other than you're right, or you know, one of us took a stumble over a log or something. You're right, mate. Yeah, and that was it. Alex, we crashed. Beefy Milsim, me and Charles versus the world at that point. Yeah, mate. By the sounds of things, it was a good firefight going on down at that camp when we rolled in. Saw you on the side of the track there when we walked back. We were dead. Yeah, I know you're dead. You had your red light on, but you're like Azrael. You literally walked. Me and Mike with the bush. You walked past, realised someone was there, stopped, looked right at us with his red light, and then went, "Oh yeah, there's definitely someone there." I was like, "Great." TCFO3 always good when you got jump into bush. Yes, mate. I prefer mine neatly trimmed. Charles on the LMG, you would have guessed. Yeah. Arthur Piles, this sounds sick, just like a real exercise. Yeah, mate. I mean, you know, obviously events are events. Some are good, some are bad. This was actually really enjoyable, but it really is. You get out what you put in. You know, roll with some good guys, some like-minded guys that are sort of on the same sort of skill set as you. So you know, one's not carrying any dead weight, and yeah, you'll have a good time, mate. Richie's always willing to fall into any hole, mate. Honestly, like if I'd Dara for every time I fell into a ditch or something, mate, with my nods on. I'm surprised I haven't broken something. Broke my nods, my hip, my back. Yeah, it's just me and holes, mate. Right. Okay. Sorry, guys. Just going through some of this. Arthur, I actually love night stalks and ambushes. Yes, mate. You know, we do too. Sometimes sitting 20 to 25 minutes, you know, waiting for a snap ambush is when it all comes off, mate, perfectly, is absolutely immense. Really good. Here he is. Evening, Tim. How's it going, mate?
What's up, sir?
Good. Just bouncing through some of these comments, mate. So, do you feel sick to your stomach that you didn't come to this event now?
A bit, yeah. Definitely going through the comments as well that so many people didn't know that you was there. Just buzzes me up. Like, you know, the guys that know me well, I love that sort of shit, sneaking about,
yeah,
tapping people. Really good to hear the hit taking was good.
Yeah, it was, mate. It was spot on.
You know, the main thing is as well, is nearly everyone that was there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Large majority of people that were there.
Yeah.
So when hit taking shit at that point, you're a bit like, fucking hell.
Because you know who they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, you know, things like that. This is where the idea of these kind of closed events where everyone knows each other really keeps the standard really high.
Yeah.
Gutted I couldn't be there. Really good debrief, mate. Well enjoyed that. Well enjoyed that. Very thorough and got a really good understanding of like bouncing between the two compounds, which is really hard to do when you're doing that kind of firefighting role, that you don't go and hit a compound, bounce to the other end, and then have those guys that you just hit up your ass. Do you know what I mean? So, good job, mate. Really good job.
And I think obviously anyone that's been to that site knows where those tracks are. Like, if you're having a full-on firefight, and like you said, you're pushing through and clearing, that's fine. But to shoot and scoot, there's only sort of one way in and out of most of the places. And like I say, mate, we had to pretty much go around the whole of the site to come back in the other end. It was tough going, mate. Like, we were knackered. Just the terrain, mate, the brambles and everything, because everything's still quite overgrown now. That's why I like Terry's games. This beefy this morning got a bit salty with some of the Op 4. The others were up for a scrap. Oh, really? Oh, why's that then, mate?
Probably because they got rattled by you at night, Richie. Got the thought it was Op 4. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Full 8 hours.
Did you get some footage? Yes, I did, mate. We got a little bit of footage. I've yet to go through it properly. Again, because it was so dark under the canopy, a lot of it's not usable. But again, this is where we're going to get into the Psionics Aurora. I'm really in sort of like the testing phases at the moment, seeing just how usable it is. Because really, that's the question that's on everyone's lips is, you know, can you use it as a night vision device? Merrick, can't wait to join from New Year tomorrow. Taking out the rest of the metal and then need to get some muscles back to that leg. Yes, mate. Merrick, mate, cannot wait for you to get back on fighting form, mate. We need to get out of the game. SOCOM Sniper House Tonics, yes, mate. So I don't know if you caught that or not, but yeah, we're still sort of in the testing phases. We hope it will work out well, but at the moment, I think in the right environment, it'll be very, very good. But to replace a night vision unit, I don't know.
Yeah, Beefy's reply, sorry, to James C's message. How do new people get into the Milsim scene? Book onto events. Definitely stay with your ear to the ground about all the shit that's out there, because there's a lot of it. And if you're after a good guide, I'm sure a lot of the guys will back us up here. We've got a lot. We've got a lot of content on the channel that's really aimed at the Milsim beginner, and it will give you a good understanding of what happens at these events and what you're going to need. And then also, from my perspective, I think these debrief videos, why we both enjoy doing them, because it gives us some time to reflect back on what we did.
Yeah,
I think that's really important, especially for me, that will throw my dummy out the pram before the event's finished. But then when I sit and do a debrief, I look back at a very positive event. But also from a perspective of someone new, you're going to get a real understanding of what people are up to during the event and the taskings that you're going to have, the things you need to accomplish, things that you need to achieve. So James here, I think, you know, keep an eye on the content that's going out there. I would say that there's a lot of it, but there really isn't. But then keep your ear to the ground for decent events. You know,
I think you're spot on, Tim. Like, sometimes I know it's easy, like, for people to sling mud on social media, but sometimes it is better to listen out and keep your ear to the ground for a lot of the bad events, because word about bad events will travel further than words about a good event.
Yeah.
So, you know, but again, and also, mate, like, you know, like Tim says, if you look, these debrief videos are very, for us, very important, because yes, if we are going and we've attended an event, it will give us our point of view. But likewise, if we're at an event that other people are at, you go, if people going on social media go, oh yeah, we did this, we stacked these bodies, we were up all night doing this, we were drilling people, people got stacked, people got run over, but were, you know, for me, I think these DP videos kind of level the playing field. Do you know what I mean? Kind of put, you know, gets people a bit of a reality check to go, actually, mate, yes, you probably did all right and you got a few kills, but you weren't fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme. Do you know what I mean? Screaming through, you know, with stockpiling 60 bodies. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is where sometimes social media people just need to wind the neck in a bit.
Yep, mate, totally
My
agree.
opinion.
No, I think you bang on. I think if John from Gravy Seals was here, I don't think he's on and watching, but if he was, there was someone knocking his eardrums about Stanta, saying that they were out to 8 o'clock in the morning doing taskings.
Really?
I was like, no, mate. And he was in that little bed building that was off limits to everyone. Him and his mate, two of them, shit cunts, pretty much spouting that they were out to 8 o'clock in the morning doing a load of taskings when we know that the event was over, absolutely over, by 12 o'clock at night. So I do think it's easy, and I think, you know, it's easy then to dispel myths that guys are up all night having it up, when the reality, in 9 times out of 10, they're not.
See that there. Like, if someone, say for instance, I don't know who these guys are. But let's say those guys have got big.
Useless. No
Sorry?
one knows.
Oh, right. But let's just say that they have a huge social media following, right? Huge, right? Let's just say they have a huge social media following, and someone who, you know, who doesn't know much about Milsims goes on, goes, oh mate, you was out till 8 in the morning. Oh wow, do you know what I mean? Blah blah. And then they're going to start following them and go, oh mate, these guys know what's up. Do you know what I mean? They're out stacking bodies, doing this, doing that. You can so easily mislead someone. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like to think, and please put in the comments if you think we're wrong, but when me and Tim get our asses handed to us, mate, we'll openly admit it. Openly admit when we get stacked, you know. It's not about your kill death ratio, mate, in airsoft. It's about, you know, it's about learning, about bettering yourself. Like, if you get clipped, all right, learn from it. Learn what you did wrong and try and not do it again.
Yeah, too. But you're right. It does. It's very easy to set an impression on social media. And I think, you know, I have this conversation with people that we work with, like brands and product companies and that sort of thing. They get this kind of persona from teams and individuals around their social media. But then when it actually comes to reviewing a product, the reviews normally gash, or is very lackluster. And that is because they cannot review the kit in the scene, or like in the function that they're putting out on the media, because they don't actually facilitate what they're actually fucking putting out that they do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I've seen that a lot with companies say, oh, do you know this guy? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, have a look, what do you think of his social media? Social media looks like the guy's out being an absolute hitter every week.
Yeah.
But it's really a lot of scene set stuff.
Yeah.
And when they've sent products out, they've got like a bedroom floor review, you know. So
it's not
very, very easy to paint a picture online. And I think, you know, look at Stanta. I mean, that's a video that had 170 people watching it. Do you know what I mean? It's like somewhere around, I think it's like 150,000 minutes watched. It's ridiculous. That's in that video. I think a lot of people are very keen to get an honest understanding, because so many people are out there putting their photos up of them, you know, in a building with all their Gucci kit on, stacking bodies all night, nod crew and all this bullshit, right? Which I'm guilty of doing as well. But the reality is they weren't, and people weren't functionally out on the ground, you know.
And I think, like I say, it was a hot topic because, you know, obviously we did our debrief, and, you know, everyone knows our opinions on the event. But I think a lot of people were on the same wavelength. A lot of people left there just as disappointed as what we were. So I think a lot of people, you know, assimilated to that and sort of felt that. But yeah, so then why would you? Everyone knows what that event was like. So then why would you go about, like? Why would you go saying that?
What a banging comment from Brad. There was more movement in the graveyard than at Stanta past 11.
Peter Britton was lovely. It was loving playing with you guys. So guys at the fort, it's a good game. Was that Reprops, mate? Yes, yeah. We enjoyed that, mate. We have to get back there soon.
Yeah, it was a bit of a
Until our guns died, but it was good.
It was definitely some good fights with John this weekend. I love John.
Yeah.
Really, really good guy. Tim C.
Didn't see him though. I think I heard him at some point, but I didn't bump into him.
Surprised you could smell him from somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Surprised you couldn't smell him from where.
Although saying that, he messaged me today and he said, "Oh, mate, I didn't realise you was there. Was you there?" I was like, "Yeah, I was there." He's like, "Was that you with the MP7?" I was like, "No." I said, I had the scar." He's like, "It was you then." So I don't know. I might have clicked him. I don't know, but I don't remember.
He knows the sound of our guns. Don't forget. Yeah,
he does.
Cold where we are, just off the side.
I'll never forget that, mate. In coming down from the top floor of that building in Stanta, I knew it was you lads down there. I could hear your scar recoils from camo roads.
James C. I've been to one or two. My comment was related to Jamie Britts about invite only. I think it's a really good point, Matt. I think, you know, these invite only events, there's a lot of them happening, a lot more than are shouted about on social media. For that reason, there's a lot of closed stuff. There's a lot of this CTFSO events that happen under the radar. There's a lot of sort of so-called training events that happen under the radar. I think, James, if you're really into the Milsim scene, my advice personally would be get yourself to some Sterlings. You know, knock around those for a bit and the doors will begin to open. But I really feel that there isn't another proving ground for a higher caliber of player other than Sterling. I am biased. I've done a lot of their events, but that for me is how the doors for Milsim for me opened, was because I spent like 2 years doing all the Sterlings.
But I think at the same time, you know, with Sterling, it doesn't matter what your level set is, as long as your thought process and your attitude is correct. Do you know what I mean? You'll go far, because it doesn't matter what your skill set is, or you know, what level of Milsim you're at, or you know, what your kit level's at. As long as your kit level's adequate, you know, and you're not going to cause yourself an injury or hypothermia or something. You know, I've seen those guys take on, you know, guys straight out of the skirmish field, and they'll stick them in a call sign, and they'll look after them. Do you know what I mean? They'll make sure they're good. You know, they won't let you fail. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they'll always look after you.
Have to severely whip some people into shape, but that's what I was, mate. I was a skirmisher.
Yeah.
I had very minimal kit, but I wanted to kind of go and try what was classed then, and I think now is like the most sort of current top tier events. It was good. Tim bully ratio. Tim 1, American 0.
Tim 1, HPA 0.
Peter Britton was loving playing with you two at the fort. Beefy, a sniper shot me in the face yesterday. It was so painful, I thought I was going to die. Beefy,
you know,
it's
I
hard.
saw Beefy.
Beefy was in like one of those skin tight fucking wetsuit top things. All right, if you want to be back over, but that's about it, in my opinion.
I saw his picture on Facebook. Like, I think it was here. If that's the shot, mate, it looked like a belter.
Yeah,
really did.
Beefy, mate. Bit of Savlon on that, bruv.
Yeah. Get some crab fat on it, mate.
That's the worst place to get hit as well, isn't it? Just on that cheekbone.
Nah, cheekbone. Nah, cheekbone. Gets updated every 3 hours. Delivered by a ninja.
Cheekbone.
Cheekbone.
Knock on the window.
Cheekbone. Yeah.
Beefy, that would mean stitches when you come up to me and was like, I think I might die. I'm glad you guys had a good event. I'm glad I couldn't be there. It seems it's becoming a popular idea in the UK. Yep. The same with the whole kind of black event invite only stuff. I think you know, a lot more people doing it. I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, we try and sense check everyone that is going to turn up at our event for 2 reasons. One, because we need to make sure that they're going to gel, because the caliber of people at our event and the like-mindedness of people like Jay, people like Beefy, people like Jamie, you know, a lot of the guys that are in here, we know well and they gel well together. And that's one of the most important things for our events. So the reason we do the black event in the way that we do it, and the way that we do the sign up, that we can't just have walk-ons, is because there is an expectation of caliber. one, to keep the day flowing, so we're not having to handhold, but also because the site is fucking dangerous.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think it is a case of people maybe on slightly different skill sets, but the attitude and the caliber is definitely the one. Mate, yeah, I was about to say, Luke, fingernail or knuckle. Knuckle is seconded only by getting shot here
Yeah,
on this bit. That bit, mate, is the absolute pit.
I thought you got hit there once by a sniper, and it just bled instantly, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
Shot out.
bloody.
Miguel's here. Oi, camo custom. But yeah, right, guys, fire some comments over or some questions.
Yeah,
I think the social media thing's interesting. I think, you know, these sort of closed events, I think it's good to see what people are branching into in regards of doing these closed events. I think it will drive some groups of people forward, which I think is definitely needed. I think there's teams out there that think they can have a social media presence and that's it.
yeah.
You know, they've got some alley fots and they've spent some of their nan's money on some kit and that's it.
But there's nothing wrong with that, mate. If you want to, if you want to be on social media and put up some alley fots, like, fine. But then, like, don't start then dishing out information to people when it's not asked for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So what's your next event, Richie? What are you looking at doing? Have you got any ideas yet? Shit,
Honestly,
sorry, loads of messages that have been blocked by YouTube guys. Sorry, Richie. There's about 20 messages that have been blocked because of swearing in them. So let me just allow them all to be posted. We have to go back to the questions. Sorry, dude.
Charles Woodfield. Richie, that's me coming out the barn in my boxers, t-shirt and lid. Wanted my hoodie. Come around the corner, had the scar over. So Charles, did you have a pistol on you or a long? Because if you didn't, you're a fucking idiot. like who, like that's the one thing they say. It's a Milsim. You go everywhere with the sidearm, everywhere. Even if you go for a piss, take 2 people with you. Go for a shit, take 2 people with you.
Yeah.
If you're having a combat wank, 2 people with you.
At least have someone's back to rub against.
Stu Leader, looking forward to next weekend with you boys. Yes, mate. Yeah, looking forward to it. Stu, I would say tent, mate, because tree hanging materials are a bit few and far between. So tent, mate.
Have you guys heard of Imperium in Kent?
Yes.
Imperium
yes, we have been there once or twice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think next week's going to be fun. I know a lot of you guys are coming.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, super excited. Super excited.
Got Camo guys coming down, and they'll be talking about some stuff that they've got to offer. Can't talk about it wider, but if you're interested in any camo shit, there is going to be some stuff next weekend that we'll talk about. So
we can talk about the discount, the special deal, though, can't we?
We can, but we just can't talk about that other deal that they're going to offer on the day.
Can we not?
It's limited to that event, I think.
Yeah, but you've got. Yeah, what I mean is Pete. Actually, Miguel, if you're still in it, mate. Obviously, if we tell people, will it prepare? Could we prepare them for it, or I don't know. Or is it a case of if they turn up at the event and then get told?
Yeah, well, they don't have to do it on the day, but don't know. We've got some stuff in the works with Camo.
Yeah.
He said go for it.
Okay.
So Richie, I'll let you talk on through it. Essentially, what the deal breaks down as. So,
start from the top. Obviously, you guys know that me and Tim have had both our scars, amongst other guns, upgraded by Camo Raid, Camo Customs. However, what we want to talk about is the super build that's over on the channel. So obviously, mine was the first. Sorry, Tim, but Tim's in intent on running his stock for a while, so I had to jump on board. So my Sky Heavy is a super build. So it's a Sky Heavy. It's a TIM recoil NGRS, but it has the full upgrade package. So this is the full upgrade package available from Camo Customs. Now, anyone who's looking to buy a gun, so buy an NGRS, buy a recoil, whatever that may be, and have a full upgrade package done on it. So if you're thinking about this and you're coming to the NVG1 event next weekend, okay, Camo Customs are going to give you £200 off the final bill, just like that. £200 off, cheaper, done. So if you're thinking about buying a gun and having a full build, and you're at our events next weekend, you are in luck, boys. So yeah.
Or if you've got one and you're thinking about having another one built,
yep.
Because I know there's a few cool cats that are thinking about doing that.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about that as well, then that's something to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
Luke, sorry, I'm going to let Beefy answer your question because Beefy knows all about HPA if he's still here. But Luke said, I can't understand the hate for HPA, especially a HPA GBR concealed hose, because it makes no difference when compared to the amount of kit some people carry. Luke, it's not about the amount of kit. It's about principles, and also the capability of going out on the ground for an extended period of time with a massive fucking tank on your back.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. It's not about even the look or performance. It's just the fact that a lot of Milsim companies are after a particular standard and capability of being out on the ground for extended periods of time. If you're putting tons of fucking rounds down, then you are going to have a capacity of that tank. And if you are in a rural area, not so bad. If you're in an urban, it's not so bad. But if you're rural, we can do just stop in the middle of the woods because your gun's gone down because you run out of gas. It's
it's and also it comes down to realism. You know, it's military simulation. You don't see like CAG or Delta or Marsoc running around with a hose coming out the bottom of their pistol grip, or even whatever, or with a diver's tank on the back. Let's just SEAL Team 3, but I just don't like it.
Right, just don't like it. Is here, and I'm waiting for him to talk about HPA because I know I've given Beefy shit, but I love him. He knows I love him. For me, okay, let's just see what Beefy's got to say. Right, he's a guy that's running events, so and he's explicitly said at his events no HPA, so it's good for him to bounce him. For me, the hose on the HPA takes away from the immersion. I think it's unfair advantage on the field. For a support weapon that's fixed to a vehicle, maybe. Totally agree. Bang on, Beefy, bang on.
Yeah.
And then he's put at the bottom, we're not playing Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Who you gonna call your mum to come pick you up because you're banned?
Has anyone got a foot pump? My tank's run out.
Yeah, I just again, HPA. If you want to run that skirmish event, we're not saying like absolutely fine, go for it. Like, knock yourself out, but like just at a Milsim, no, just no. It doesn't belong there. Doesn't belong there.
Stu Leader is always on the money and just bringing that home. He's bang right.
Yes.
The only time it works really well is when you have got a mobile vehicle that's got a proper dive tank on it, and it enables you to, without lockup or without overheating batteries and gears and having significant problems and downages on guns that run on batteries, a HPA support weapon works incredibly well on a vehicle.
Yeah.
Right. He's our mate with the big long beard, isn't he? The one.
That's him.
Yeah.
I always forget his name. But like top bloke, really nice lad.
Merrick, who are you going to call? You when my gun's broken.
Oh. So, Tim, did you see the pictures that Camo Custom sent us of my VFC M4?
No.
Oh boy.
No, I've had my phone's been off, so
mate. So those of you guys don't know, obviously I have a VFC M4.
Where is it? Yeah, the casing. I've seen of the casing, but
yeah. So I've got a VFC M4. I've got the
shit
9-inch Spikes tactical rail. I've also got a separate upper with a 13-inch VTAC.
What's happened to that one?
Mate, go to the other picture where the gear has come away from the shaft.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's basically snapped the shaft off the spindle, off the gear.
I think this one's broken. This is what happened when you give Richie a gun.
Oh mate. So yeah, obviously that's been dead for sort of 7-8 months now. So don't get it twisted, guys. Obviously, Camo Customs, they are the NGRS recoil experts, absolute experts. But they can also make this thing come back to life. Look at that, mate. I've sheared the shaft off the gear. Amazing.
That poor fucking gun. That
mate.
poor.
But guys, if you haven't seen it, so the reason why that gun went like the way it did, if you go over to the channel, there is a video of me down at the UCAP prison down in sort of, I think it's Portsmouth, down that sort of way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's when that's how comes my gun went sideways. But yeah, obviously Camo Custom are gonna bring that thing back to life. Obviously, they've polished the gearbox now, so I'm super excited to get that back.
Charles should have got a Crytac, but that is coming from someone who can't shoulder a gun properly, so just ignore it.
Hashtag helium stock.
Boys, you can get a razor. Milsim sucks, speed soft for life. Yeah, great. CM16.
Stu Leader, the day at Urban Assault when it rinsed itself during Chrono. Oh, mate. So, yeah, we was at Urban Assault and everyone's lined up to Chrono. There must have been like 20 odd people in this line. I've got to the front, put it on semi-auto, gone, zick, 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 and it sort of done like a double tap. I was like, oh, sorry, mate, the trigger's a bit sensitive. That's when I put that high-speed gear set in it. Mate, he went, did it? And it just run away, mate. Just run away. Trying to rip the mag out, take the battery out. Hilarious. Stu, mate, that was a funny day. Funny day.
Beefy knows the drill.
I'll get on my hair.
Yeah, there's nothing else. People are going to come in here and start bragging about their 1,600 quid dasses. Yeah, well done, mate. Good if you want to hit a fucking barn door. It's full of love, not Miguel's love, not grease. Miguel's love is strangely thick and black. Looks like like carbon grease.
Yeah, mate.
Let's see what this says. Fan for a long time, really digging the debriefs. Just wondering if you still ran your training courses. Thanos, yes.
Yes, we do.
Next one's going to be, and what it's going to be focused around. I would like to do another basics because I think even the people that were at the basics would learn from doing it again and would probably come back much, much better. But I would also like to do our next like basics 2 or our course 2. So to get some of the guys really licking and pushing those transitions and that sort of stuff. But Richie, what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I was just going to say, mate. Like, I've had a few people ask me, "Are we going to do our our black event, our first course again?" I would love to because we had a great time. We had some really good people turn up to that. Like, obviously at Beefy's lot, we had Tom from Dragar, his guys. Load of other guys that were just super keen to learn, get stuck in. Hopefully, when we run it next time, I think that the interest we've got, we should have a very similar sort of class, of attendees. So yeah, looking forward to it. Just when we do it, I mean, I was asked a question. I put a date out there. I said sometime early next year, but when I don't really know. So you're probably looking at next year, guys. I think.
Yeah, when our next set of patches come out end of next year.
Yeah.
I've been looking at the camo ultimate upgrade for my dev crew, hoping someone has one at the MVG. Yeah, there'll be people with dev crews or scars upgraded with full upgrades. Jake, and if you do want one done, have a word with Miguel and Merrick on the day, and I'm sure they'll do you a deal. Get it booked in. Why don't you do 3-gun airsoft? Because it's fucking dumb. Wow, we do have some followers. Got to bounce to you boys next weekend. Dun, dun, dun. See you later, Beefy, mate. Take care, buddy. Nice one. Where would I find more info? Your website just takes me to your YouTube, Instagram, or even on here we post. We done a post last time, didn't we, Beefy? Richie. Beefy just messaged.
What about the training?
About the training, yeah. Where people could
I'd say that, or go through Instagram. Yeah, scroll through. Actually, no, yeah, it'll be on YouTube. If you go down, it's under one of our playlists, isn't it? Training.
Yeah,
I think
it's under one of the playlists, and it's also on our communities tab. So our communities tab, we post loads of photos and different stuff. So Richie has posted information on the training. When we release the next event, we will post it on both of those platforms, Instagram and on YouTube. But just being completely honest and transparent with people, we do 25 people. We have roughly 20,000 followers across the platforms, maybe 25,000 people. So when they go out, they get booked up real fucking quick. So if you are interested, the second it goes up and you are able to do the date, book on straight away, because they go super quick. And as you can imagine, teams of 5, 6, 7 guys booking on the space.
It's one block, yeah. Yeah, guys, just a quick one. If you've got any questions about the kit that we run at the SEO Milsim, just stick that in there, because obviously we're not really covering the kit that we run, to be fair, other than the guns.
Want to bring the new Black Fox lads to the next one? Yeah, Brad, that'd be really good. Getting you guys down, run some drills together. Obviously, you know the drill, so we'll be pushing on. So Luke Stone seems like a bit of a troll and definitely doesn't look like that athlete. If I turn up in Milsim kit for GBR HPA with real cap mags, I'd be turned away. Yes,
I'm gonna say probably yeah.
You would be, yeah. Can I bring my dev crew? I can bring my dev crew. Oh, Camo Customs, there you go. Who was asking about the dev crew fully pimped. There you go. They'll bring one down for you to have a shoot.
Yeah, so just quickly, guys, obviously those of you that are coming to the MVG one, Camo Raids, Camo Customs will be there with a little pop-up stall. They'll be bringing a selection of guns, pimped, modded up for you to try out, have a look at, finger bang. They'll be bringing some BBs as well, should you want to buy some BBs. I think they've got some of the new BLS in, so if you want to try some BLS out, try them. They'll be bringing some kit down. So yeah, also more importantly, they're there to bend an ear. So if you've got any questions about upgrades, what you should have, how you can get more performance, more range, etc., from your platform, they will be there to give you all the answers.
3 gun is done, but training with airsoft is okay. Yes, definitely. Luke, you seem to not quite grasp the avenue we're going down here. 3 gun.
Okay. So let's just answer that. Like, you know, honestly. So, the 3 gun thing. Okay, I understand. Okay, by moving along different targets with a weapons platform, how that can be useful to a degree. But why would you, this is in an airsoft platform scenario, why would you transition between 3 different platforms of gun, okay, to hone your skills? That bit I don't understand. Why would you not pick one platform? You know, what's the Bruce Lee saying? Don't fear the man that's practiced 3,000 kicks. Fear the man that's practiced 1 kick 3,000 times. Do you know what I mean? Like, you pick a platform, train with it. That's like, and you train with just that. You know, once you've mastered that, fine, move on to the next one. But I don't understand the picking up a gun, getting your sight picture, you know, control, speed, throttle up, throttle down, getting the changes, mag changes down, putting the gun down, and then trying to do that with another platform. I don't know. That's my 2 pence worth.
Right, so free gun in itself with real steel firearms is great, right? In regards of those guys doing it with real steel, because of the aspect of free gun works incredibly well, that you can use the platforms for varying engagement distances, and it's all about efficiency across the three platforms. But the whole idea of training with airsoft platforms can't be compared to three gun. It's like comparing all ball sports with baseball. That you're talking about airsoft as an entirety, whereas three gun is like a subset. So when you look at airsoft as training, for me, Project Gecko and Eli, or Eli, however you want to say his name, he is at the pinnacle of doing that training. So they done a load of simunition stuff this weekend, just gone, and then they let the guys use airsoft, but they found airsoft to be actually much more functional for guys to actually go at each other, because the simunition is so bad and the risk of hematoma is so high. So when you look at airsoft as training, like real training for guys that are SWAT, military, police, LE, ME, whatever, it's becoming more and more frequent. Now, that's to one side. Me and Richie are airsofters. We play airsoft. We're not real steel guys. We're not fucking drilling real people. So of course we're going to train with airsoft platform. So you've got a comparison there that is nowhere near weighed up. It'd be like three gun is dumb, but range shooting isn't. That's a comparison. When you're talking about training with an airsoft platform, of course we're going to train with an airsoft platform. We're airsoft. It's like, you know, a footballer fucking training with a tennis ball. It would make no sense. But a footballer who plays football professionally training with a football, that's exactly what we're doing. We're airsofters. We're training with the airsoft platform.
Yeah.
Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't,
you're done. Dan 22, Tracer BB's all right for the black event. Yes, mate. If you want to bring them down, there's no no's for that. Personally, other than a bit of fun, I don't see tracers serve any purpose, functionality wise. But yeah, mate, bit of fun. Bring them down. Be a giggle.
They're also really handy for dialing in your pec. So if you want to dial your pec in, they can be really handy to see if you're like way off and you can't see where your BBs are going. If you can't even engage the target, sometimes tracers can be really good to help you to align everything.
Oh, see, obviously I'm used to having my illuminator back like the BB, so
yes, but
so
illuminator.
I don't need it.
Yes, if you've got a really good illuminator, that's really
good,
strong.
Valid point, mate.
Like the BBs. If you've got an FMA or an element, mine doesn't have the power of the IR illuminator. It only has white light. So even if you white light and IR laser at the same time, sometimes you can't see the BBs.
Yeah, true, mate, true.
And an IR laser. So for me, if your BBs are way off, like you're way off, then Tracer can help get dialed in. But yeah, bring them.
Yeah.
You might not need them for the whole night, but bring them.
Mr. Chen.
Sorry, mate. Where do you do your training? It's at a quarry in Kent.
Yeah. Down here in Kent, mate. Yeah. Thoughts on third gen tubes versus Photonis 4Gs? Tim, this is you. This is all you, brother.
Where's that question, mate? Sorry, dude.
Dean Chen. Thoughts on third gen tubes versus 4G Photonis 4Gs?
It depends when you say Gen 3, right? So Gen 3 as a top spans from
it's a broad question, isn't it?
90s until today. And if you say Gen 3, you can go anywhere from 1600 FOM, being quite bright, but a very low signal to noise ratio and a very low LP. So some of the like early 2000 tubes actually had a very high FOM rating for the time, but the signal to noise ratio was very high and their LP, the line pairs, which make up the actual image itself, was very low. So they were like 45s to 50s. So that's like a high brightness tube, but with a very low quality picture.
Yeah.
Then you can move like later through the 2000s and even like mid 2000s where the LP come up to like 55, 62. Gen 3 is a really broad subject. You'd probably be better off saying like Gen 3 plus, or saying like, say 2010 plus Gen 3 tubes against Photonis 4Gs. if you look at the actual specification of the tube themselves, say like a 1600 FOM Lytton tube with 72 LP and 23 to 25 signal to noise ratio, the 4Gs are going to do invariably the same statistics, like metrics wise, but how responsive those tubes are, one being like, for example, a thin filmed, and then you've got the Photonis 4Gs, which works on a slightly different technology. It's very hard to say which one you'd prefer unless you had a spec sheet for the actual tube, because most tubes are gated in a way that they're somewhere between 1600 FOM and 1800 FOM. That doesn't mean they are 1600. It doesn't mean they're 1800. They're somewhere in the middle. And then also you get variations on signal to noise and your line pairs. So for example, if we said, right, a Photonis 4G is 16 to 1800, but it's actually closer to 1600, and then it's low on line pairs, to say it's 55 and the signal to noise is 23, and then you've got a Gen 3 Plus tube that's fin filmed or no filmed, which is essentially Gen 3 Plus or Gen 4, like it's no film at all. But if you have a fin film that's 16 to 1800, but it's 1800, it's 72 and it's 25, then you're going to get a much better picture out of the Gen 3. So it's really hard to compare unless you've got data sheets and specs to work from. That's my thing.
Yeah. Jamie Britt, Dean, I told you not to start till an MVG.
Yeah. It depends on the spec sheet, essentially. I think 4Gs are really good. I think if you get White Phos 4Gs as well and you're in Europe and you can get your hands on them, they're double good.
Yeah.
If you can get a set of Lyttons, ITTs, Harder, Harris, any of the tube makers from the US that are 2000-ish FOM, then you're onto a winner. That 2000 bracket or aviation spec tubes of that time are very, very, very good. So there you go. God, this Luke Stone kid's just going to get banned. James C. I fear not the man who's learned 10,000 kicks once. I fear the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. James C. Well done, mate. Rage of fire. British police use airsoft guns. I mean, mate, nearly everyone is training with airsoft guns now. At least in some form. Maybe not all the time, but in some form they are. Because
I think
munition and what's the blue ones, Richie? What are they called?
What's that?
Simunitions is one brand of like rubber bullet. What's the blue ones called?
Oh,
they've got another name, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like that little blue pop out
Yeah.
bit with the rubber cap on the end.
Yeah.
There's just
I mean,
of
maybe I don't know what year we're talking. Maybe 9 years ago. 9 years ago, obviously, everyone jumped on the airsoft training bandwagon to try and push airsoft weapons into military, like MIL and LE, you know, to get them to buy up all these airsoft guns in a big contract for training. But the technology just wasn't there. I mean, they were using standard AEGs. There was no recoils as such of any significance. No sort of any with sort of bolt lock. But you know, now, however, as we all know, with the TM recoils, even out the box, mate, they're good. The rate of fire is similar or thereabouts to a real steel firearm. So yeah, it's just, I think definitely, mate, as a training tool now, the technology has allowed them to push forward and really become, a significant runner.
Right. Any more questions? UTM, you have one. What did I do? No, I've never played Armour. What would you put in your silverback? The Wasp or Edgy? Good question. I think it depends what else you've got in there and who's building it. The Wasp was really good in my sniper rifle, but the underlying factor is that the silverback was very, very good, but it weren't a touch on the Scar. That's just bang honest.
Yeah,
Scar is something else. Did you see the guy that T-Rex Arms took target shooting? He'd only ever used airsoft training for. Yeah.
Crazy, mate.
that guy's going to get, you know, a visa for the US and probably be one of the best competition shooters they've got. He's going to be a prodigy, like who. But you're bang right. He used dry firing on airsoft guns in his apartment to become essentially a mirror copy of Lucas, who I think is doing wonders for you know, the shooting community and also training. But now Travis Haley's on the bandwagon. So he done a vlog or blog recently about going to play airsoft with one of his kids. And obviously he's been a big advocate of using the airsoft platform for training since before my time.
I was going to say, Haley's been doing it since year dot, mate.
Yeah.
He was the original one. I remember when he first joined Magpul with Costa, obviously they were there to sell all the Magpul accessory products. And he literally had his gun, his real steel rifle there with all the Magpul accessories, and he had his AEG there, and it was exactly a replica, mate, one to one. And yeah, like I say, the guy's been doing some good stuff for the sport for a long time.
SOCOM Sniper UK just shows airsoft training isn't a waste.
Absolutely.
You know, this is one thing, right, where people is easy to turn their nose up, and I also think that there's two kind of segments of airsoft training. There is you facilitating your platform more frequently so that when you do come to use it in anger, it feels second nature. That's one side of training. That's what me and Richie focus on. Placement and repetition. There is also another side of airsoft training that is more like an experience day or like a corporate event where you go and learn some CQB stuff and you do it in environments that are unlikely to be recreated. And you do them in scenarios that are unlikely to be recreated. And it can really help with team bonding. But what they're actually teaching you is really unlikely to ever roll out the same way as it's being taught. You're going to have four guys just, you know, walk into the door of a room with enemy in it and all drill someone. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, to walk into a room and have one guy stood in the center of the room or like in the far back corner, it just doesn't normally go down that way. Do you know what I mean?
It very ever rarely goes down that way. Normally, the first person breaks the edge of the doorway and a load of rounds rattle out. And in mine and your case, where we've been playing like that, but teams coming into buildings, the next thing is a bang goes out and they don't ever cover any of that stuff. So I think if you are training with your platform and you are doing things that are going to benefit you when it comes to using your weapon in angst, fine. I think that's totally cool. If you're off these experience days and you think it's going to teach you some magic stuff that's going to help you be a CQB wizard, you're better off actually just playing a lot of CQB, my opinion.
And again, like you just said, mate, you know, the training that we do is repetition and placement and using your platform to the point where it becomes second nature, muscle memory. So, you know, I found last night when me and Mike was out, we never did a mag change, or I never did a mag change under stress or during a contact, because we put so little rounds down, shoot and scoot. We were off, and I was mag changing as we were bounding out. So it wasn't a full on stress environment mag change under contact. But even that being said, mate, you know, just an admin reload, you know, pitch black, because my nods are up. I'm watching where I'm walking. I'm not watching at my kit. You know, again, because I've drilled it so many times, quick feel along, index the mag with the finger, comes up, 90-degree it, you know, strip, in, click. You then draw the mag into the pocket, down, boom, done. And I'd never once had an issue last night in not getting the mag in the hole, in you know, back into the spiritus, or, you know, missing the mag well, just because you drill it so many times, mate. You know where your muscle memory, where everything is going to be. And you know, this is why we do it, mate. So you know, you don't have to struggle.
Yeah, exactly that. So I think that's one of the key things is, like people saying, you know, just go out and play. I think playing isn't enough, because there's certain things that you want to practice that you couldn't do while you were playing. And that is like repetition, like loads and loads of repetition of bringing the gun up, doing a change, like a full change, admin, gun down, gun up, full change, gun down, gun up, full change. you know, that those types of things, it's very rare that you can just do them cycles over and over and over
Yeah.
every day. Just go through some of these questions. I also hate these training days with SF. It's all cash. If it's all of cash,
Yeah, I know what you mean, because it's all put on so, because people want the experience, don't they, of training with someone who's been in SF or been in 2-2, or or whatever. But sometimes, and this is just coming from first-hand experience, you pay the money to train with someone who's served, or someone who you believe is of some sort of
guru
in the SF world, when
Yeah.
really, mate, they've been out for quite a few years. Okay, their methods are slightly dated. The methods are not necessarily up to date, which, let's face it, they shouldn't be up to date, because what are they doing teaching the public, up to date, room clearance drills? Anyway, by the by. But it's also the fact that then, like you touched on before, it's the fact that you're going into a situation where people are training or being taught to train. This is the guys who've done paying for the SF thing. You're being taught how to clear a room where you're firing real steel firearms that may go through plyboard or chipboard, or you've got another. If you've got one section, you've got another 4 sections down at the front door. So you just pile guys through, and it just, for airsoft, mate, it just doesn't work. Some of it, like, sorry, that's harsh. A very small proportion, translates. Very small proportion.
I think one of them where, like you're saying, I've done some, those trainings where you've got those guys there, and it's great, the stuff that they teach you, but some of it just doesn't come over to airsoft, regardless of what people say and experiences they've had. A lot of it doesn't come over. Very different mentality in airsoft, especially when you go up against experienced players, where a real steel scenario in a building is going to be super different when you go into a building against some wily airsofter that's just going to lick off, full auto bursts at door frames, in hallways, throw bangs out, whatever. I mean,
just as a prime example, mate. So when I was a bit, fresh and a bit wet behind the ears, not long started airsoft, I went along to a training day, run by someone, and it was being led by this guy who was obviously ex-military. Can't remember what he was in now, but ex-mil. Anyway, we were just teaching the basics of bounding, and peeling out as a section. Now, there's maybe 6 to 8 guys all in this little section. Okay, right, lads, start bounding back, and obviously you bound in sort of, you break your section down into 2, so 3 and 3, or 2 and 2, whatever. So as we're bounding back, he's getting us to bound, like, mate, it was a long distance, like 20-30 meters. Do you know what I mean? Like, what would technically be, I don't know what it is nowadays, but a real steel bound, that guys use for real steel. Of course, in airsoft, mate, you're bounding so far, right, that you can't, your airsoft rifle will not reach the distance to the target. So you've then got to reach the 30 meters you've just bounded, so you've just bound, and perhaps another 30 meters to target, maybe 40, maybe 50 meters. You're then looking at an 80-90 meter engagement distance, which for airsoft just doesn't translate, because you're meant to be giving supporting fire to the guys that are bounding past you. How can you do that when your rounds aren't getting on target? It was, for me, mate, it was just an absolute pointless exercise. Like, it's just another, I know it sounds like we're hating on people who are ex-military, whatever. We're not. We're just saying that because some people get it, some people don't. But just because military works in military and real steel firearms training works for real steel firearms, doesn't mean it translates to airsoft. And as soon as people realise that, they'll start to get it.
Yeah, I think you're bang right. So, the same as with, some of the things that I've seen going up recently, but also
exactly that.
They wanted to give us a squaddy experience of crawling around, belly crawling in the mud and all this shit, and the real likelihood is that most airsofters, most guys that are going to play a weekend, most people will avoid going through lakes, going through rivers, will skirt banks that will not just stand in the middle of the river. They'll skirt the bank line and things like that. people will inherently try and stay dry, try and stay comfortable. And because of that, it makes people fairly predictable when, you know, Richie, you've been to the valley, everyone crosses over at Lower Blaine Crossing rather than crossing the river.
Yeah.
Only cross the river if you've got gators, all the other thing on, because the river's quite deep, it moves quite quickly, and it's freezing cold.
Yep.
Everyone crosses there, so it becomes a choke point. And you know, whereas when you're doing military training, and you know, it's driven a bit like what Legion did, right? They've done a hard routine weekend, and everyone said, you know, the only bit really about the whole weekend that was hard routine is when you had to cross a river.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, great. Well, you know, what sort of experience then are people getting from that?
Yeah.
But Ragefire, I think, is bang right. It's one thing I learned when I started playing airsoft is that 10 years in the military translate to about 10% of airsoft ability. It does not.
Spot on.
And you know, the same thing with firearms and engagements and the way that you're taught to engage and the way that you're taught to, like you say, bounding, the way that you're taught to cover arcs, the way that it would apply. But if you know that you're on a building realistically and you're all covering your arcs of fire, do you need to be conscious of the people at 300, 400, 500 meters? Yeah, from a presence perspective, you're not going to put rounds down.
No.
You know, so there is so many limitations to the platform that then limit inherently what you're going to do in regards of the platform itself. But
yeah.
Specifically, okay, so Dan Chen, specifically regarding room clearing, limited penetration is getting more and more traction as opposed to the old room flood. Where you guys mentioned, it definitely takes some time for instructors to move on. Totally agree. The fatal funnel, as most people would call it, that door frame. I think they're kind of Cherries was one of the original guys that started talking about that limited penetration. There's a really old video on YouTube. If you put in Cherry CQB, it's an old Israeli guy talking about limited penetration. I think you're right. I also think with bangs now, you know, bangs that, you know, the impact grenades, the flashbangs, those sort of things are so powerful in CQB now that if you are loaded to the hilt with bangs, you can do some really significant clearing. Whereas in firearms training, a bang inherently is going to cause people a lot of danger. And if there are supposed friendlies and hostiles mixed together, then they almost can't be used unless they are kind of a sound device or a flash device. But, you know, you use those devices as a kill for players.
True.
That's important too.
Right. So any questions, any comments, guys? So we've probably not got too long left, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm only at a 2 hour mark.
So yeah, mate. Although it was only out for a couple of hours last night. Mate, like I say, that train was hard going. Definitely feeling it.
Luke Stone, this guy. The only thing you're missing from Real Steel is harder recall impulse. No. There's a lot more that you're missing from a platform. Other than that, distance of round, magazine capacity, ammo count capacity, heat from the platform. If you're putting a lot of rounds down, guns get very, very hot that people don't consider. The equipment that you have mounted and the way that it's mounted, you're going to mount very, very different setup to a Real Steel platform.
Yeah.
There's a million things that are airsoft, especially in CQB.
And let's face it, mate, as much as we all complain.
Even, mate, for example, CQB, right? I've been at a point where you've been on the front putting rounds down, and I've literally knelt down next to your leg, like tucked in next to your leg, putting rounds down. Bam, 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 bam. Mate, if you was firing even 223 above my head in CQB, even with ear pro in, mate, it's loud. You get heat, flash all across your face.
So realistically, mate, also if you think about it, like how many times do our guns go down? Really? How many times?
Very rarely.
Very little. How many times do you get a jam or a misfeed or something on a Real Steel gun? All the time. All the time. But you need a speck of dust in there and it'll jam up. But actually, mate, we're all staying corrected. Because Luke says apparently it doesn't matter because we're not training with a gas blowback, so it doesn't matter.
This guy's a moron. Okay, done. No more. That functionality, yeah, massive difference in functionality as well.
Yes, Merrick. Limited penetration.
Just that.
Just penetration.
But it seems Rageophile as usual is on point.
Yeah.
Dean Kent, Luke, GBP doesn't really simulate actual outside, maybe a 22 LR.
Yeah.
Even a 22 is not going to do too much. But okay, if you think, do you think that the UK will up the outdoor FPS to the same as the US? No.
What is that out of interest?
400 and something, 420.
Wow. Okay.
Not as bad as Poland.
No, true.
550 for AGs, 650 for snipers.
550 for an AG, mate.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But that, you know, they are on single, you know, they're on almost on semi, right? Because there's such a hard pull. The noise of real steel is like my missus doesn't like me listening to music. Yeah, you just got that constant humming in your ears.
Yeah, mate.
Airsoft, we've got to cover real steel most of the time. It's just concealment. Yeah, 450. Yeah, it's 450.
Yeah, sound.
Beast.
I'm done, mate. I'm out.
Yeah, okay, dude. Right, let's call it. Luke is clearly not getting it.
Trading, mate.
Then why do you use an AG for training? Because I'm an airsofter and I use an AG when I'm playing. So I train with one. And like that, Luke, the clouds will open and you will be fucking open that third eye.
Enlightened.
How's the shoulder going? It's sore. And physio's just made it even worse.
Oh, really?
Oh, mate. Yeah. Right, let's bounce. Richie, thank you so much for the debrief, mate. It was fucking awesome.
No, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. So those of you obviously that are watching this back, you know, hopefully we'll leave this up for you guys to catch up on if you missed it first time round. But hopefully everyone enjoyed it. Give you a bit of an insight into what went on, how we got things done. Really enjoyed it, doing that whole sort of like sneak in, sneak out, absolutely unknown. Yeah, it was just a real good dynamic to the game. It's good. So yeah, also guys, thank you for your comments. Those of you that actually put valid comments in, it's always good to hear from you guys, both on YouTube and on Facebook as well, as we're dual streaming.
Right, let's get out of it. Peace. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you all very soon. Cheers, Richie. Take care, mate.